Garoshiyata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vidam Sya Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyana Jana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishtam Supurakam Guruganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanagam Govinda Vidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwa Gurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Nawe Bijapradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandabaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyambunim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Bandetam Shubharam Madeka Sharanam Nyasishwara Sridharam Vansha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevaja Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad. This is the Antya-lila chapter 2, the chastisement of Junior Haridas, or the chastisement of Chota Haridas. And I'll start with verse number 84, 84. Purushottame Prabhupashe Bhagavanacharya Parama Vaishnavateho Supandita Arya at Jagannath Puri, in the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, lived Bhagavanacharya, who was certainly a gentleman, a learned scholar, and a great devotee. Sakya Bhavakranta Chitta Gopa Avatar Swarup Gosai Saha Sakya Bhavahar. He was fully absorbed in thoughts of fraternal relationships with God. That means he's absorbed in Sakya Ras, thinking of Krishna as a friend. He was an incarnation of a cowherd boy, and thus his dealings with Swarup Damodar Goswami were very friendly. Ekanta Bhave Ashri Jachan Chaitanya Charan Madhye Madhye Prabhur Teho Korana Nimantran. He sought the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet with full surrender. Sometimes he would invite the Lord to dine at his home. Gare Bhakta Kore Koran Bibida Byanjan Ekale Gosai Loya Karana Bojan. Bhagavanacharya prepared varieties of rice and vegetables at home and brought the Lord there alone to eat. Bhagavanacharya prepared varieties of rice and vegetables at home and brought the Lord there alone to eat. Tarapita Vishayi Bora Shatanandakan Vishaya Vimukacharya Vairagya Pradhan. Bhagavanacharya's father, whose name was Satananda Khan, was an expert statesman, whereas Bhagavanacharya was not at all interested in the management of the state. Indeed, he was almost in the renounced order of life. So the word here is Vishai. His father was politically involved. He was an enjoyer. But Bhagavanacharya was not at all like his father. Bhagavanacharya was very renounced and very attached to Mahaprabhu. Gopala Bhattacharya Nama Tara Chota Bhai Kasite Vedanta Padi Gela Taratai, Bhagavan Acharya's brother, whose name was Gopala Bhattacharya, had studied Vedanta philosophy at Benares and had then returned to Bhagavan Acharya's home. During those days, and also at the present, Vedanta philosophy is understood through the commentary of Shankaracharya, which is known as the Sharirak Bhashya. Thus, it appears that Gopal Bhattacharya, the younger brother of Bhagavan Acharya, had studied Vedanta according to the way of the Sharirak Bhashya, which expounds the Mayavad philosophy of the impersonalist. So, Bhagavan Acharya's brother, Gopal Bhattacharya, I believe who was younger than him, had studied at Benares. And that means he learned the Vedas, but he learned impersonalist commentary of Shankaracharya. Acharya Tahare Prabhu Pade Milaila Antarjame Prabhu Chitte Sukana Paila. Bhagavan Acharya took his brother to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but the Lord, knowing that Gopal Bhattacharya was a Mayavadi philosopher, could not get much happiness from meeting him. So Mahaprabhu met Gopal, the brother of Bhagavan Acharya. He met Gopal Bhattacharya, but he was polite to him, but not very interested because he knew he was a Mayavadi. Acharya Sambandhe Bhaye Kore Prityavas Krishna Bhakti Bina Prabhur Nahoy Ulas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu derives no happiness from meeting one who is not a pure devotee of Krishna. Thus, because Gopal Bhattacharya was a Mayavadi scholar, the Lord felt no jubilation meeting him. Nevertheless, because Gopal Bhattacharya was related to Bhagavan Acharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feigned pleasure in seeing him. So he was polite with him. Swarup Gosaire Acharya Kohe Aradine Vedanta Padiya Gopal Asiyache Ekane. Bhagavan Acharya said to Swarup Damodar, Gopal, my younger brother, has returned to my home, having concluded his study of Vedanta philosophy. So he's telling Swarup Damodar that my younger brother Gopal has come back from Benares, come back from Varanasi, and he studied Vedanta. Sabimeli Aisha Shuni Bhashya Iharstane Prema Kroda Kore Swarup Badaya Machane. Bhagavan Acharya requested Swarup Damodar Goswami to hear from Gopal the commentary upon Vedanta. Swarup Damodar, however, somewhat angry because of love, spoke as follows. Buddhi Brashta Hoila Tomar Gopalera Sange Mayavad Shunivare Upajila Range. You have lost your intelligence in the association of Gopal, and therefore you are eager to hear the Mayavad philosophy. My modern terms would say, are you out of your mind? Why would we want to hear impersonalist philosophy from Gopal? Vaishnavaya Jeva Sharirak Bhashya Sevya Sevaka Baba Chari Apanara Ishwara Mane. When a Vaishnav listens to the Sharirak Bhashya, the Mayavad commentary upon the Vedanta Sutra, he gives up the Krishna conscious attitude that the Lord is the master and the living entity is his servant. Instead, he considers himself the Supreme Lord. So, Swarup Damodar says, when one hears the Mayavad commentary, it no longer has as the center the Lord, and that we are servants of the Lord. Instead, one becomes the Lord himself. This is the conclusion of Mayavad philosophy, that you become the Lord. So, Mahabhagavat Jai Krishna Pranadanajar Mayavad Shravane chitta avashya firedhara. The Mayavad philosophy presents such a jugglery of words that even a highly elevated devotee who has accepted Krishna as his life and soul changes his decision when he reads the Mayavad commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Acharya kohe amasavar Krishna nishta chite amasavar manavasya nari viraite. In spite of Swarup Damodar's protest, Bhagavanacharya continued, "We are all fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna with our hearts and souls. Therefore, the Sharirak Bhashya cannot change our minds." Then Bhagavanacharya says, "Yes, what you're saying is true, but we're all surrendered to Krishna's lotus feet, and hearing the Sharirak Bhashya commentary is not going to change our minds." Swarup kohe tatapi mayavad shravane chit brahma maya mitya e matra shune. Swarup Damodar replied, "Nevertheless, when we hear the Mayavad philosophy, we hear that Brahman is knowledge and that the universe of Maya is false, but we gain no spiritual understanding. Jiva jnana kalpita ishware sakala I agyan jahara shravane bhaktir pate manapran." The Mayavad philosopher tries to establish that the living entity is only imaginary and that the personality of God is under the influence of Maya. Hearing this kind of commentary breaks the heart and life of a devotee. Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami wanted to impress upon Bhagavanacharya that even though someone firmly fixed in devotion to Krishna's service might not be deviated by hearing the Mayavad Bhashya, that Bhashya is nevertheless full of impersonal words and ideas, such as Brahman, which represent knowledge but which are impersonal. The Mayavadis say that the world created by Maya is false, and that actually there is no living entity but only one spiritual effulgence. They further say that God is imaginary, that people think of God only because of ignorance, and that when the Supreme Absolute Truth is befooled by the external energy of Maya, he becomes a jiva, or living entity. Upon hearing all these nonsensical ideas from the non-devotee, a devotee is greatly afflicted, as if his heart and soul were broken. Bhaja Baya Pana Acharya Mona Hoila Aradin Gopalere Deshe Pataila. Thus Bhagavanacharya, greatly ashamed and fearful, remained silent. The next day he asked Gopal Bhattacharya to return to his own district. Then he asked his younger brother, "Okay, you can return home." At first he wanted the devotees to hear how well his younger brother had studied, but because he was an impersonalist, Swarup Damodar wasn't in favor of that. So Swarup Damodar told him that when one hears Mayavad philosophy, that can break the faith of a devotee. And then he says, yes, Bhagavanacharya says, yes, but we're all fixed on the service of Krishna, so we will not be affected. And then Swarup Damodar says, yes, we may not be affected in that way, but we won't be happy hearing that. And it's full of wrong ideas that don't make us satisfied. So then Bhagavanacharya understood, and he told Gopal, his younger brother, you can return back to where you were studying. Is this centered all right? Yes. Okay. Now, Ekdin Acharya Prabhure Koilani Mantran Gare Bhakta Kore Kore Bibida Bhyanjan. One day, Bhagavanacharya invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to dine at his home. Thus he was preparing rice and various types of vegetables. So one day Bhagavanacharya invited Mahaprabhu to come take lunch at his house. So he was preparing sabji and rice, vegetables and rice. Chota Haridas Nam Prabhura Kirtaniya Tahare Kohen Acharya Dakiya Aniya, a devotee named Chota Haridas, used to sing for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhagavanacharya called him to his home and spoke as follows. Moraname Shikim Mahitir Bhagini Stanigiya Shukla Chao Egmaun Anahamagiya. Please go to the sister of Shiki Mahiti. In my name, ask her for a mound of white rice and bring it here. In India, Shukla Chao, white rice, is also called atapa chao, or rice that has not been boiled before being threshed. So nowadays, to get the husk off the rice, they would boil it, and then that would take the husk off. But Vaishnavas didn't like that kind of way of taking the husk off because they felt like it was being partially cooked by a non-devotee. So another kind of rice called siddha chow, brown rice, is boiled before being threshed. Generally, first-class fine white rice is required for offerings to the deity. Thus, Bhagavanacharya asked Chota Haridas, or Junior Haridas, a singer in the assembly of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to get some of this rice from the sister of Shiki Mahiti. A mound is a standard of measurement in orissa for rice and other food grains. Mahitira Bhagini se nama Madhavi Devi Brida Tapasmini Ara Parama Vaishnavi. Shiki Mahiti's sister was named Madhavi Devi. Shiki Mahiti's sister was named Madhavi Devi. She was an elderly lady who always performed austerity. She was very advanced in devotional service. Prabhu leka kore jare radikaragan jagatera madhye patra saditina jan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted her as having formerly been an associate of Srimati Radharani. In the entire world, 3.5 people were his intimate devotees. And Srila Guru Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj, they have said that this idea, 3.5 people were intimate associates of Mahaprabhu. This was some terms used to satisfy the Orisan devotees, the Oriyan devotees. So, Swarup Gosai Ararai Ramananda Shiki Mahiti Teen Tara Bhagani Ardajan. There are 3.5 people. The three were Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, and Shiki Mahiti, and the half a person was Shiki Mahiti's sister. So these were accepted as intimate devotees of Mahaprabhu. Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, Shiki Mahiti, and the half person was Shiki Mahiti's sister. So there are, of course, more devotees than that who are intimately related with Mahaprabhu. Like, this doesn't include, like, also Gadadhar Pandit and other persons who are obviously very related with Mahaprabhu. But this is some. But anyway, we understand that Chota Haridas is going to Shiki Mahiti's sister, whose name is Madhavi, and asking her for some rice to cook for Mahaprabhu. Now, Madhavi is elderly. She's an old Vaishnavi, and she's very renounced. Okay. Taratai Tandula Magi Anila Haridas Tandula Dekia Charjera Adika Ulas. After begging the rice from her, Chota Haridas brought it to Bhagavanacharya, who was very pleased to see its quality. Snehe Randila Prabhur Priya Jai Byanjan Dula Prasada Ara Chaki Lembu Salavan. In great affection, Bhagavanacharya cooked in great affection, Bhagavanacharya cooked varieties of vegetables and other preparations dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also obtained remnants of food from Lord Jagannath and digestive aids such as ground ginger and also lime with salt. Madhyane Asiya Prabhu Bhojane Basila Salyanadeki Prabhu Acharjari Puchila. At noon, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to eat the offerings of Bhagavanacharya, he first appreciated the fine rice and therefore questioned him. Uttama ana eta tandula kahate paila acharya kohe madhavi pasha magya anila. Where did you get such fine rice? The Lord asked. Bhagavanacharya replied, I got it by begging from Madhavi Devi. Prabhu kohe konjai magya anila Chota Haridas nama charja kohila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked who had begged the rice and brought it back, Bhagavanacharya mentioned the name of Chota Haridas, of Junior Haridas. Ana Prasamsiya Prabhu Bhojana Korila Nijagrihe Ase Govindare Agyadila. Praising the quality of the rice, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu partook of the prasadam. Then, after returning to his residence, he gave the following order to Govinda, his personal assistant. Ajay hoite e mora agya paliba Chota Haridase ihan aseti asite na diba. From this day forward, do not allow Chota Haridas to come here. Dwaram mana hoila Haridasa duke hoila mane ki lagiya dwara mana ke ho nahi jane. When Chota Haridas heard that he had been ordered not to approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very unhappy. No one could understand why he had been ordered not to come. Tindin hoila Haridas kore upavas swarupariyashe puchila Mahaprabhurpash. Chota Haridas fasted continuously for 3 days. Then Swarup Damodar and other confidential devotees approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to inquire from him. Konaparad Prabhu Koila Haridas Kilagiya Dwaraman Kore Upavas. What great offense has Chota Haridas committed? Why has he been forbidden to come to your door? He has now been fasting for 3 days. Prabhu kohe vairagi kore prakriti sambasan dekitena paruname taharabadan. The Lord replied, I cannot tolerate seeing the face of a person who has accepted the renounced order of life, but who still talks intimately with a woman. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that saralata, or simplicity, is the first qualification of a Vaishnava, whereas duplicity or cunning behavior is a great offense against the principles of devotional service. As one advances in Krishna consciousness, one must gradually become disgusted with material attachment and thus become more and more attached to the service of the Lord. If one is not factually detached from material activities, but still proclaims himself advanced in devotional service, he is cheating. No one will be happy to see such behavior. Durbara Indriya Kore Vishaya Grahan Darabi Prakriti Kore Munerapiman. So strongly do the senses adhere to the objects of their enjoyment that indeed a wooden statue of a woman attracts the mind of even a great saintly person. So a great saintly person will be attracted even by a wooden figure of a woman, or maybe a drawing like this. So Mahaprabhu is saying, Matras Swasra Duhitra Na Vivikta Sana Bhavit Balavan Indriya Grama Vidvamsam Api Karshati. One should not sit closely with one's mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that they may attract even a person advanced in knowledge. This is from the Manu Samhita, saying that even one should not sit closely with one's mother or sister or daughter. This is for normal, mundane people, because sometimes even mundane people, they'll be attracted by their own family members. Kudra jiva sava markata vairagya koriya indriya charana bule prakriti sambhashya. There are many persons with little in their possession who accept the renounced order of life like monkeys. They go here and there engaging in sense gratification and speaking intimately with women. One should strictly follow the regulative principles, namely no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, and no gambling. And in this way, one should make progress in spiritual life. If an unfit person sentimentally accepts vairagya or takes sannyas, but at the same time remains attached to women, he is in a very dangerous position. His renunciation is called markata vairagya, or renunciation like that of a monkey. The monkey lives in the forest, eats fruit, and does not even cover itself with a cloth. In this way it resembles a saint, but the monkey always thinks of female monkeys and sometimes keeps dozens of them for sexual intercourse. This is called markata vairagya. So, of course, monkeys don't wear clothes, but we also see sometimes there are people who live in the forest who don't wear clothes and only eat fruit or something like that, and they appear to be advanced. See, confirm. But those persons are called markata vairagis. They're considered monkey renunciants. Therefore, one who is unfit should not accept the renounced order of life. One who accepts the order of sannyas but again becomes agitated by sensual disturbances and talks privately with women is called dharma dvaji or dharma kalanka, which means that he brings condemnation upon the religious order. Therefore, one should be extremely careful in this connection. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur explains the word markata to mean restless. A restless person cannot be steady. Therefore, he simply wanders about gratifying his senses, just to get praise from others, to get cheap adoration from his followers, or people in general. Such a person sometimes accepts the dress of a sannyasi or babaji in the renounced order, but he cannot give up desires for sense gratification, especially for the association of women. Such a person cannot make advancement in spiritual life. There are 8 different kinds of sensual enjoyment with women, including talking about them and thinking about them. Thus, for a sannyasi, a person in the renounced order, talking intimately with women is a great offense. Sri Ramananda Roy and Srila Narottam Das Thakur actually achieved the most elevated stage of the renounced order, but those who imitate them, accepting them as ordinary human beings, fall under the influence of the material energy, for that is a great misunderstanding. So here's 2 contrasts. One is Chota Haridas, who's a renunciant, and he goes to beg some rice from an elderly Vaishnavi, an elderly woman who's considered to be advanced. But because he went to her and asked for rice, Mahaprabhu didn't like that a renounced person would go to a woman and talk with her. just simply that. Whereas Ramananda Roy, he was a grihasta, and he used, and it's described elsewhere, that he used to train women to dance for Lord Jagannath. And sometimes when he was training them to dance for Lord Jagannath, he would dress them, teach them how to move, and even bathe them. And these would be young ladies. But Mahaprabhu didn't disturb Mahaprabhu, because he knew that Swarup Damodar was never affected by that. He knew that Ramananda Roy was never affected by that. But Ramananda Roy also was not like a sannyasi or a renunciate, but he was more renounced than any sannyasi. So Mahaprabhu didn't mind that. In fact, Pradyumna, I think it's Pradyumna Brahmacharya, wanted to. Anyway, Mahaprabhu sent one devotee to hear from Ramananda Roy. That devotee asked to hear about Krishna-lila from Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu told him, go to Ramananda Roy. He can teach you. And then when he went to see Ramananda Roy, they told him, oh, he's busy right now. And it turns out that Ramananda Roy was training young women for his drama called Jagannath Vallabha Natika. But that person didn't understand, and when he came back, he told Mahaprabhu what was going on. But Mahaprabhu said, Ramananda Roy is never affected by anything, so go back to him and hear. And he went back the next day, and that's contrasted with Chota Haridas, who just was sent by Bhagavan Acharya to Madhavi Devi, who's old and advanced Vaishnava, just begging for some rice to cook for Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu told Govinda, his servant, don't let Chota Haridas come here anymore. And Chota Haridas began fasting. He was very disturbed. After saying this, Mahaprabhu, Etakohe Mahaprabhu Abhyantare Gela Gosaira Aveshadeki Sabe Mona Hoila. After saying that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered his room, seeing him in such an angry mood, all the devotees fell silent. When they saw Mahaprabhu was so angry about this incident of Chota Haridas talking with Madhavi Devi that they all became quiet. Nobody wanted to argue with Mahaprabhu. At first, Swarup Damodar, who's very dear to Mahaprabhu, had asked, well, what's the offense of Chota Haridas? He's fasting. He's very disturbed. What did he do wrong? And then Mahaprabhu told him, I cannot stand to see the face of someone who talks intimately with ladies, or meaning that Chota Haridas should not have gone there to Madhavi. Somebody else should have been sent or something like it. But Mahaprabhu was disturbed. After saying this, Mahaprabhu entered his room. Seeing him in such an angry mood, all the devotees fell silent. Aradine sabe meli prabhura charane Haridas lagi kichu koila nibedane. The next day, all the devotees together approached the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to submit an appeal on behalf of Chota Haridas. Alpa parad Prabhu koraha prasad ebe shikka hoilana koribe aparad. Haridas has committed a small offense, they said. Therefore, O Lord, please be merciful to him. Now he has received a sufficient lesson. In the future, he will not commit such an offense. Prabhu kohe morabas nahe moraman prakriti sambasi vairagi nakore darshan. Mahaprabhu said, my mind is not under my control. It does not like to see anyone in the renounced order who talks intimately with women. Nijakarye jahasabe charabrita kata punajari kaha ama nadeki bekat heta. You should all tend to your respective engagements. Give up this useless talk. If you speak this way again, I shall go away and you will no longer see me here. So Mahaprabhu then said, okay, you should all mind your own business. Do whatever go about your normal activities, but don't bring this up again. Don't bring this up again. If you talk about this again, I'll go away and you won't see me anymore. So that's pretty severe. Ita shuni sabinija karne hastadiya nija nija karya sabe gilana utiya. Hearing this, all the devotees covered their ears with their hands, got up and went about their respective duties. Mahaprabhu madhyana korite chaligela bhujana najai e Mahaprabhu lila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also left that place to perform his noon duties. No one could understand his pastimes. So when it says Mahaprabhu goes to perform his noon duties, that means that Mahaprabhu before lunch is going to bathe. He goes to bathe to perform his noon duties. So there, he already answered all the devotees, don't bring this up anymore. I don't want to hear about it. If you bring this up anymore, I'm leaving. That's how strongly Mahaprabhu's mind was made up about it. I'm not going to discuss this with anyone. And if you bring it up anymore, I'm leaving. So don't talk to me about Chota Haridas. Aradin Save Paramananda Puristane Prabhuke Prasana Kora Koila Nivedane. The next day, all the devotees went to Sri Paramananda Puri and requested him to pacify the Lord. So Paramananda Puri is a godbrother of Ishwara Puri, who's Mahaprabhu's spiritual master. So they know that Mahaprabhu accepts Paramananda Puri as Guru Tattva, they accept Mahaprabhu will give honor to Paramananda Puri as a godbrother of his guru. So the relationship is not, he's showing special honor to Paramananda Puri. Tabe Puri Gosai Eg Prabhu Stani Aila Namaskore Prabhutare Sambrame Basila. Paramananda Puri therefore went alone to the residence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord, after offering him obeisances, seated him by his side with great respect. Puchila ki agya kene hoila agaman harira se prasad lage koila nivedan. The Lord inquired, how can I serve you? What is your order? For what purpose have you come here? Paramananda Puri then submitted his prayer that the Lord show favor to Chota Haridas. Shuniya Kohen Prabhu Shunaha Gosai Save Vaishnava Loya Tume Raha Etai. Hearing this request, Mahaprabhu replied, my dear Lord, please hear me. It is better for you to stay here with all the Vaishnavas. More agya hoy mui jana alalanath ekale rohibatahan govinda matrastat. Please give me permission to go to Alalanath. I shall remain there alone. Only Govinda will go with me. Etabole Prabhu Chare Govinde Bolaila Purire Namaskara Kore. Etabole Prabhu Chare Govinde Bolaila Purire Namaskara Kore Utiya Chalila. After saying this, the Lord called for Govinda. Offering obeisances to Paramananda Puri, he got up and began to leave. Aste Bhyaste Puri Gosai Prabhu Agegela Anunaya Kore Prabore Gareva Saila. In great haste, Paramananda Puri went before him and with great humility persuaded him to sit down in his room. So after Paramananda Puri, they're thinking he's godbrother of Mahaprabhu's guru, so Mahaprabhu shows respect to him, and he said, please give some mercy to Chota Haridas. Then Mahaprabhu says, it's better if you stay here and you take care of the Vaishnavas, and I'll go to Alalanath, nearby some temple a little bit apart. And then he said, more or less said to Govinda, okay, Govinda, start packing our bags. Start arranging everything. And then Paramananda Puri Paramananda Puri persuaded Mahaprabhu to, no, don't do that. Tomara jai ichha kora swatantra ishwar keba ki bolite pare tomara upar. Paramananda Puri said, my dear Lord Chaitanya, you are the independent personality of Godhead. You can do whatever you like. Who can say anything above you? Lokahita lage tomar sabhavyabahar ami sabna jane gambir ridoya tomar. All your activities are for the benefit of people in general. We cannot understand them, for your intentions are deep and grave. Etaboli puri gosai gela nijastane haridas stane gela sab bhaktagane. After saying this, Paramananda Puri Goswami left for his own home. Then all the devotees went to see Chota Haridas. So, let's see. Swarup Gosai Kohe Shuna Haridas Sabe Tomar Hita Manchi Koraha Vishwas. Swarup Damodar said, please hear us, Haridas, for we all wish you well. Please believe this. So this is Chota Haridas. He should not be confused with Haridas Thakur. This Chota means Haridas Junior or younger Haridas. So they're telling the devotees know that Mahaprabhu was very upset because he was talking with a woman, even though he's supposed to be renounced. And they told him, look, listen, Haridas, we all wish you well, so please believe us. Prabhuhate padiyache swatantrishwar kabu kripa koribena jate dolai doyalu antar. At present, Mahaprabhu is persisting in his mood of anger because he is the independent Supreme Personality of Godhead. At some time, however, he will surely be merciful, for at heart he is very kind. So they're saying, right now, Mahaprabhu is very upset. But in the future, this will pass. But he's the Supreme Lord, and he's free to do as he wants. So don't become upset. Tumi hata koile tara hata se baribe snana bhojan kora apane kroda jabe. The Lord is persisting, and if you also persist, his persistence will increase. He's very angry, and if you also persist in insisting that you have to see the Lord, he'll become more angry. It is better for you to bathe and take prasadam. In due course, his anger will automatically subside. So you're fasting now, and you should just, bathe and take prasadam, and don't insist like this, because right now Mahaprabhu's mind is made up. He doesn't want to see you, so just accept that. Itavolitare snana bhojana koraya apana bhavana aila tare avasya. Having said this, Swarup Damodar induced Haridas to bathe and take prasadam. After thus reassuring him, he returned home. So the idea is that Mahaprabhu, why is he doing this? He's doing this to teach the devotees that you should not freely engage with other persons in sexual relationships, especially those who are living as brahmacharis or sannyasis. They should be very careful. Prabhu Jadi Jana Jagannath Darshane Dori Rohe Haridas Korana Darshane. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath in the temple, Haridas would stay a long distance away and see him. So when Mahaprabhu would go to the Jagannath temple, Haridas Thakur would see him from a distance. Mahaprabhu, not Haridas Thakur, Chota Haridas. When Mahaprabhu would go to the temple, younger Haridas, he's not related to Haridas Thakur, his name is Haridas. They call him Chota Haridas, little Haridas, or Haridas Jr. But that Chota Haridas would watch him from a distance, would see Mahaprabhu from a distance. Mahaprabhu Kripa Sindhu Kepare Bhujite Priya Bhakti Danda Koran Dharma Bhujite. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ocean of mercy. Who can understand him? When he chastises his dear devotees, he certainly does so to reestablish the principles of religion or duty. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says in this connection that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the ocean of mercy, chastised Chota Haridas, although Chota Haridas was his dear devotee, to establish that no one in the devotional line engaged in pure devotional service, to show that one in the devotional line engaged in pure devotional service should not be a hypocrite. For a person engaged in devotional service in the renounced order, or being a brahmachari also, having intimate relationships with women is certainly hypocrisy. This chastisement was given to Chota Haridas as an example to future sahajias who might adopt the dress of the renounced order to imitate Rupa Goswami and other bona fide sannyasis, but secretly have illicit connections with women. And this is very common in Vrindavan. There are many people who dress as Babajis or imitate the Goswamis, but they all have sexual partners. And this was meant as a lesson to them that Mahaprabhu won't tolerate this. To teach such men, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised his dear devotee Haridas for a slight deviation from the regulative principles. Srimati Madhavi Devi was a highly elevated devotee, therefore approaching her and asked for some rice to serve. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was certainly not very offensive. Nevertheless, just to preserve the regulative principle for the future, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enforced the hard and fast rule that no one in the renounced order should intimately mix with women. Had Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not chastised Chota Haridas for this slight deviation, so-called devotees of the Lord would have exploited the example of Chota Haridas to continue their habit of illicit connection with women unrestrictedly. Indeed, they still preach that such behavior is allowed for a Vaishnava, but it is strictly not allowed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the teacher of the entire world, and therefore he enforced this exemplary punishment to establish that illicit sexual connections are never allowed by Vaishnava philosophy. That was his purpose in chastising Junior Haridas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Chota Haridas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in fact the most magnanimous incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he strictly prohibited illicit sex. So, Deki Trasha Upajila Sabhaktagane Swapnina Chadila Sabistri Sambhashane. After all the devotees saw this example, a mentality of fear grew among them. Therefore, they all stopped talking with women, even in dreams. In connection with this, Sri Sambhasana, talking with women. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur says that talking with women for the purpose of mingling with them for sense enjoyment or sense gratification, subtle or gross, is strictly prohibited. Chanaka Pandit, the great moral instructor, says, Matrivat Paradareshu. Thus, not only a person in the renounced order for one engaged in devotional service, but everyone should avoid intimately mingling with women. One should avoid mingling with women. One should consider another's wife his mother. So in ISKCON, they refer to women as Mataji. But Govinda Maharaj didn't like that because he said in Bengal the word Mataji is very dirty, that somebody's mistress is called Mataji. So in the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, they prefer to refer to women as Didi. Didi means elder sister. Sometimes to call a woman who's 18 or 20 years old Didi seems little different, so I just sometimes just refer to them by name. But that is the correct way of, instead of, in our mission, we don't refer to women as Mataji so much, but they do that more in ISKCON. It's also good to call other women mother, but it doesn't sound good in Bengal, so we say Didi. Emate Haridaser ek Matsara Gela Tabu Ma Prabhu Mane Prashada Nahila. In this way, a complete year passed for Chota Haridas, but still there was not a sign of Mahaprabhu's mercy toward him. So Mahaprabhu didn't change his attitude for a whole year. So then tomorrow I'll continue. This is meant as a lesson towards devotees, and why? Because we see there are so many sahajyas and cheaters in Vrindavan who dress as Babajis, as renunciants, but they keep women, and they think, they actually say and talk that keeping women is part of Vaishnava philosophy. So it's gross cheating, and Mahaprabhu wanted this to serve as a lesson, like an inconceivable almost, or a very strong lesson to cheaters like that. So, okay. I'm going to sing Hari Harai, and tomorrow is Sunday, so there isn't so many, the chapter continues, it's not very much longer. We can finish tomorrow easily. There's only like 30 verses, about 30 verses left. So tomorrow I'll finish the chapter. Okay. Now I'll sing Hari Harai. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Chaitanya Nama Nama Krishna Chaitanya Nama Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Keshavaya Nama Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Maranamahan Giridhari Gopinatha Maranamahan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadana Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Garadana Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raguna Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raguna H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Mandan H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Mandan Jaite Vignana Shamista Puran Jaite Vignana Shamista Puran H.I. Gosai Jarmui Karana H.I. Gosai Jarmui Karana Dasamar Padarenu Mora Panchagram Dasavar Padarenu Mora Panchagram Tadir Chanana Sevi Bhakta Saniva Tadir Chanana Sevi Bhakta Saniva Janame Janame More Amila Janame Janame More Amila H.I. Gosai Jame Bhaje Kolava H.I. Gosai Jame Bhaje Kolava Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narasamudam Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narasamudam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Jo Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakshidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishoredas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunathi Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Prem Si Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupad ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham ki Jai. Shri Mayapur ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Saparshada Sriman Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Shri Koladvip ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram ki Jai. Ganga Devi ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan Sham Kun Radha Kunda Kalindi Amona Jo ki Jai. Shri Purushottama Dham ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Jo ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shri Nrsingadev ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.